what else is not true, and that I think it's opened up a lot of people to new information, or at least listening to it. Even if they're just, I'll read a bit, at the end of it, they might not subscribe to that view, but they're at least open to it. Whereas, like I say, a few years ago, it'd have been, what's this nonsense, rubbish, and just dismiss it, out of hand. But then on the other hand,
do you want to take control of your financial future but don't know where to start? The folks at Noble Gold Investments know it can be confusing, so they will make it easy for you. Actual Noble Gold Investment customers are saying, the staff answered all my questions and helped me every step of the way. No pressure sales tactics, just honest guidance. So don't settle for financial uncertainty. They'll suggest options and see if you can diversify into gold and silver. Right now, Noble Gold Investments is offering a free 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful bullion coin for qualified accounts. Noble Gold Investments has an A+ rating with a Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews. Why wait? Go to noblegoldinvestments.com now. That's noblegoldinvestments.com, the only gold company I trust. I think it's one form of subconscious abuse if you discuss, like when our children were that age, we had other parents around us that would discuss everything with their children, their partner, their relationship, the parents' relationship, or they would discuss finances. And I was like, what are you doing discussing finances with a 5-year-old? It's none of their business. They shouldn't think about this or worry about this. Your job.
Yeah.
So, I so appreciate, and it's refreshing in these days. I really love that. Basically a little bit connected to that, because the thing is, and as you say, 2 and 5, that's kind of where you still have a lot of influence. But as the years go by, your influence at some point is going to go down. That's just a given until it goes up again later. And this.
Yeah.
I mean, but you talked about a new documentary that you're working on about the obesity crisis. And this is also something when you are a father, you look at everything completely different,
Oh yeah.
Maybe you put some shit in your body, but you're not going to put it in your children's body. So
Yeah,
what's the film? What's the film about? And what have you discovered on that front?
It's called The Body of Evidence. And basically for me, there's been a bit of a pendulum swing. When I was younger, it was the size 0, how big was the woman's thigh gap, what was the guy's 6-pack, all this. It was all about, that kind of stuff, which didn't do any good for people, and it drove people to, eating disorders and all sorts of horrendous. But the pendulum swung so far the other way, where it kind of came back into like, it's okay to not have 8% body fat, that's okay. But then it just kept swinging to all of a sudden, it's okay to be morbidly obese. And you've got, and it is, fill your boots, mate, but it's not a great life. And you're going to be horrendously unhealthy, and you ain't going to live very long, basically. And so we kind of wanted to look at it in the way that this is what's going on. 75% of Americans are now obese. The depression levels that go with that are sky high. 1 in 3, I think it is now, young people in America are on some form of antidepressant medication. It's insane. And so we wanted to look at it in terms of, right, so this is what's happening, and then go, right, why is it happening? Why is it being normalized? Is it purely a pendulum swing coming back from those size 0 days, or is there more to it? And so we've got, cardiologists, and we've got psychologists, and we've got, fitness professionals, we've got professional athletes. We're talking to lots and lots of different people, and then we've got Callie Means is on there. And if you've seen Callie Means before, he's a really interesting guy. For your viewers that maybe haven't, he worked basically in marketing, and worked for some huge companies, basically doing the devil's work, I guess. And then he eventually had this gig at Coca-Cola, where he uncovered that they were basically paying for peer-reviewed studies. They were paying millions of dollars to the Harvards and Stanfords and all these universities for peer-reviewed studies that were showing absolute nonsense. And obviously all these studies then came out, where, there's more nutrition in a pack of Wheatos than there is in a steak, and all these kind of nonsense things that made people go, oh, that's cool, I can eat crap then, And he said what his breaking point basically was they'd managed to kind of lobby the FDA to have Coca-Cola basically classed as a food rather than a beverage, so that it could be included in food stamps, and also so it could be in schools. And so there were these parents down in Alabama, I think it was like 3 mothers down in Alabama, that started this petition that got a lot of traction to basically get Coca-Cola taken out of these kids' primary schools, with drinking Coke at break time and stuff. And so Coca-Cola paid millions of dollars to a series of civil rights groups to basically paint and destroy these 3 women in Alabama as white supremacists and racists and all this kind of stuff, to try and basically derail any support for their mission, which was to keep kids healthy, basically. And at that point, he spoke out, because he's like, I've got kids of my own, it's too much. And so he came on and was talking a lot about the connection between big pharma and these corporations, where actually you've kind of got this loop where they will lobby the hell out of the FDA and other groups to have really rubbish ingredients allowed into food, which then will make people sick, and then the pharmaceutical companies then pick up that patient, that customer,
For the rest of their
for
lives.
the rest of their lives. And so that they are working in cahoots together, which people like me and you would that's obvious to us, but to have someone that was within that industry come out and actually blow the whistle on it was huge. And so he kind of really puts his interview was absolutely incredible, and it kind of puts all the strands of this documentary into place. And even I was sat there knowing a lot of the information, because I'd spoke to these people before we filmed with them, and even I'm just going, as he's talking, I'm like, man, that clicks with what Dr. McCulloch was saying about, mate, like these strands, this is like one big web. These guys are all, well, it's a cult, and it's a club, and they're all, the right hand is doing the left hand's bidding at certain points and stuff. And so it's really interesting. And then, we then go, to then get answers basically of what people can do and how people can circumnavigate this. And so then we're talking to people about growing their own food and how they can do this and how they can do that, and how that actually you can make stuff more affordable, because that's something you hear about a lot. Well, I can't afford organic food because it's more expensive, which it is, and that is nonsense. It's like, if you don't spray that with rubbish, you have to pay more for it. It's just crazy. And so there's lots of advice and tips and stuff on that. So it should be out in at the end of October, I think.
You deserve the truth, but big tech does not want you to hear it. So we built our own Inspired platform on theinspiredchannel.com. To watch the full video and more, just click the link in the video description or the pinned comment.